Okay, good evening, everybody. Tonight, another very special guest, as we do on Tuesday nights. Tonight, we have with us a chazan, Rabbi Dovid Caytak, but he's not here tonight in his cantorial position, but rather he's here to tell us about the activities that he's been involved in Eretz Yisroel. So first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to hearing your story. So welcome to our Tuesday evening program. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a big honor to join. I actually spent 3 years in Chicago learning in yeshiva, so I have a close spot.
Another one. I hope we were nice to you.
Yeah, for sure.
So give us a little background. Tell us about yourself. Where are you from? How long have you been living in Israel? And give us just a little brief bio besides for learning in the Masifta here for a couple of years.
I'm originally from Ottawa, Canada. I grew up in a Chabad family, and I went through the system, all the Chabad yeshivas, various Chabad yeshivas around. I did spend some time in Israel in yeshiva 1 year in Cologne, and then I spent 2 summers there, one time in Mainot and one time in Tzvas. A year after I got married, my wife and I decided to move to Eretz Yisrael. So we've been living in Yerushalayim for about 10 years now. Until now, I've been mainly teaching and singing. As you noted, I'm a chazan. So I daven in different places and perform in different places around the world.
Had it always been an aspiration of yours growing up to make Aliyah and live in Israel? Was that always something you had hoped to do and talked about when you were a teenager and looking to start your life? Or is that something that came a little bit more spontaneously?
I think it developed more when I was older. After I got married, I decided to try it out.
Okay, so you've been living in Eretz Yisrael in Yerushalayim for about 10 years. And if you would, I know it's especially difficult for people living in Eretz Yisrael, but if you could just take us back to Shmini Atzeret Simchas Torah, October 7th, where were you? What was your experience? How did the news reach you? What was that like in those first few hours?
There was a lot of disbelief. There were rocket attacks. In Yerushalayim, it's very rare to have rocket attacks because maybe for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's a lot of Arabs who live there. It's pretty far from the north of the south. And also their holy site is there at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So maybe I don't know. And they aim at Jerusalem also. So I don't know if that's the reason. But there were a lot of rocket sirens on the morning of Simchas Torah. And then the news slowly trickled in. But there was a lot of disbelief because, everyone thought the Israeli army is very strong. Of course, we have terror, but not on this scale, not a whole meltdown of security. So there were some people who believed it and some people who didn't. And there's something called the Bikud HaOref, which is the home front command that they take care of the civilian front. And they came to our shul and they told everybody to be careful and stay inside. And the rabbi told one person to start using his phone to look at the news. So we did hear there were about 15, 20 Yishuvim that were overrun. Of course, nobody had any could fathom the terrible occurrence of what happened, to what extent. And later on that night and the next day, that's when we got hit with really what happened.
Now, as you mentioned, you're a teacher, you're a chazan. How did you react and start telling us a little bit of your story about the activities that you've been involved with since October 7th?
I have nothing until October 7th. I had absolutely nothing to do with the army. When I was a yeshiva buffer, I went on Hanukkah to give out donuts. That's the extent of it. But after I heard what happened, it was actually incredible. It's not just me. The entire country literally mobilized. Now, not as much, but it's in the beginning, especially whatever anyone could do, they did. Anyone who was a soldier, they mobilized. They got drafted. That was a side problem. The army didn't have enough equipment for them. So I have a friend who's been involved with Chabad of the IDF for many years, maybe about 15 or 20 years. His name is also Dovid Schatz. He's an Israeli. He originally served in the Tzanchanim, which is the paratroopers brigade. And he works together with Mendioff and Chabad of Tzach for the IDF and all the Kochot HaBitachon, all the security forces. So I came up with an idea. I know the Rebbe was very involved with Chitas, and my mother actually. May she live long.
Let's just back up a moment, just for some people. Explain a little bit about chitas, what that word means, and give us a little background of that, if you could.
Chitas stands for Chumash, Tehillim, and Tanya, which are like three of the most important books that we have. Sfarim, holy books that we have. The Chumash is the Bible. Tehillim is Psalms from King David, and Tanya is the most important work of Hasidut, of mysticism. And the idea was to put it together in one sefer. It also stands for fear. So it's a good segula. It's very good for protection. Most Chabad people travel with a pushka, where you give charity, which it says tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Tzedakah protects from death, and a chitas. So I had the idea to buy chitasim and to give it out to the soldiers because they're going into battle. Chitas are pretty bulky, so we had some films, and also we gave it out to vehicles, to tanks.
How many did you give out? Give us an approximate number.
So I bought 100, and we gave out most of it. We gave out most of the 100. That was like the beginning. So I messaged Dovid Schatz because I had no idea of how to go about it, because I had no, like I said before, I had no connections with the army. And he said, "Come with me." And he brought me to a big field with many, many, many tanks. And this was about 3 or 4 days after the attack on October 7th. On the way, we saw thousands and thousands and thousands of cars near a huge base called Sealim. So first of all, you could see the monumental response of all the reservists. They came there and just parked their cars on both sides of the road. And there was also a parking lot full of 200 or 300 cars of people who just wanted to give whatever they had, food and clothing, to the soldiers. And they were so overwhelmed that they just had a truck come to pick it up every couple of hours, all the stuff. And so we go to this field and we start putting on tefillin with the soldiers and giving out ice cream. I actually sent you 1 or 2 pictures from that day. We also, I don't know if you remember the famous story of the soldier who his life was saved because of its tzitzit, because of its tzitzis. So there was a huge demand for tzitzis, and Dovid Schatz right away bought 1,000 pairs, and we gave out tzitzis as well.
Here's the ice cream, right?
That's ice cream, yeah. I don't remember. That was our first visit. We went back to that field of tanks a few times because it took the army about 2 weeks till they were ready to actually go in. So they were stationed.
Is that you? That with the helmet?
That's me.
Beautiful, beautiful.
In the beginning, we had vests.
And this is the tzitzis, right?
Right. So we've given out thousands and thousands of these pairs of tzitzis. My community gave out over 1,000 chitasim. I myself gave out about 100.
Unbelievable. So these soldiers are all asking for tzitzis. They don't appear, at least, to all be wearing yarmulkes. Is this something that they were not accustomed to doing prior to October 7th?
Absolutely not. And so, like I was saying, the story that there was a soldier who they only realized he was a Jew because of his tzitzis, and that alone inspired maybe 100,000 soldiers to start wearing tzitzis.
So here's the chitas.
This is the chitas. So this story actually happened a couple days later on Thursday. So the October 7th was on Shabbos. This is on Thursday. As we were in the field with the tanks, someone messages me. I have a sponsor for 10 pairs of tefillin. If anybody wants to put on tefillin, to start to commit to put on tefillin every single day, give it out. Wow. And the person on my right, his name is Tomer Yosef Cohen. He was the commander.
This guy holding the chitas.
And this guy holding chitas. We're friends still today, very close friends. And he told me 5 of his soldiers want to start putting on tefillin every single day. So we went into Kisufim there was no permission. There's a lot of roadblocks. That's a whole story for itself. And we gave out the first 5 pairs of tefillin over there, and plus another bunch in the field with the tanks.
So what are we looking at here?
And since then, we've given out hundreds and hundreds of pairs of tefillin, Baruch Hashem, to soldiers who've committed to putting on every day.
Here you go.
This is 10 pairs of tefillin in the base called Re'im. Right next to the Nova Festival is a big base, which is the headquarters of the Gaza division. And the Rav
who are these
there,
rabbi-looking people?
That's actually his name is Rav Yonayev, the one on the right.
Over here.
Yeah, over here. And he has sponsors who give a lot of tefillin. So he alone gave me over 200 or 250 pairs of tefillin.
Oh my goodness. Oh my. And these were soldiers who may not have been accustomed to putting on tefillin regularly. Am I correct?
Yeah, these mainly, for the most part, they're soldiers who are committing to put on every day, who hadn't put on before.
Oh boy.
Some of them, their tefillin got destroyed in battle, so we helped them as well.
Okay. And is this one of those pairs?
This isn't one of those pairs. It's from a different donor.
Okay.
The person in the image, his name is Kafir Levi, and he's actually in charge of Israel's biggest Air Force base called Nevatim, where they store all the F-35s. Mm-hmm. And he reached out to me that one of his friends from Tel Nof Air Force Base told him, "You're a Levite, and you have to make sure you have a very high quality pair of tefillin." So he called me, And I gave him a pair of tefillin, and his nephew, who was actually a survivor from Nachal Oz, he was in the
Oh,
base on
wow.
October 7th when it was overrun. So we gave
Oh,
him
wow.
also and his father.
Oh, wow. And here's another group. Where's this group?
This is in a base called Masha Eretz. Actually, is a big story of Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence. The second soldier on the other side.
This here?
Yeah, him. His mother's Chabad. His
Oh,
mother's
wow.
Chabad. And in the beginning of the war, she bought a lot of tefillin for the Tzanchanim. These are paratroopers 890. Actually, it's funny. I just mentioned that the Levy family, one of them, the nephew, was rescued from Nachal Oz. He survived Nachal Oz. They rescued him. They're from the groups that rescued paratroopers 890. And so his mother, his name is Shaya Nuriel. His mother bought tefillin, but they were all hustle. Unfortunately, they weren't kosher. She didn't know who she was buying it from, so she spent a lot of money. I walk into the base. I'm putting up mezuzahs. We'll get back to the story of the mezuzahs in a minute. And I asked a soldier sitting there, "Do you know any of your friends want to fill in?" And it really took him to his heart. He took it very much to heart because his mother had already spent so much money that he found 8 soldiers from the Tzanchanim 890 who wanted to commit to putting on tefillin every single day.
Oh, wow.
And this was right
That's who
before
we're looking
Pesach.
at here, these soldiers?
These soldiers, yeah, they rescued Kfar
Unbelievable.
Aza and Beri and Nachal
Now,
Oz.
these guys look like they're 15. I mean, how old are these guys?
They're in the regular, they're called Sadir. They're still in regular service. So it's anywhere between 18 and 21. I think closer to, I'm not sure
And these are
exactly.
not guys who were accustomed to putting on tefillin regularly, who've now started to put on tefillin regularly. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
And
Absolutely.
these are your children? Who are these kids here?
Some of them are my kids. So one of the things I do, what I'm very good at, is to connect between groups that are coming from outside of Israel to bases and different opportunities if they want to give. So I took a family from Los Angeles called the Schmuckler family. This was before Pesach. We gave out almost 1,000 boxes of matzah. We
Oh,
went to 6
wow.
bases. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. So you do this for fun? You do this regularly? Like, give us a sense. I mean, you're a busy guy. You got a job. You got things to do. How many people are working with you? You're just doing this on your own? What's the story?
So I started off working with Dovid Shots, and then eventually it became, I just do it on my own. I connect between groups, like I said, and soldiers, and I do a volunteer on my own. I usually go out about once or twice a week. So I do teach and sing, but I make the time for it. And sometimes some of the groups help me also with support. I don't do like big fundraisers like some people do with the crowdfunding and things like that for the most part. But I'm good at making connections between donors and the soldiers who want various items.
Okay, so lay it on us, my brother. How do people participate here?
So there's a few options. If you want, you could obviously support my work. I have all the general ways of Zelle and PayPal. Another option is if you want to specifically buy a pair of tefillin for a soldier, for example, or help soldiers with mezuzahs. And just to give you an example, I'm mainly focused on the bases down south, the divisions that are fighting down south and around Jerusalem. So just yesterday, the Chativa Tzvonit, which is the northern half of Gaza division, told me they need another 30 mezuzahs. That's $1,800. So that I would do. If somebody wants to sponsor the mezuzahs or tefillin, I wouldn't take it through my account. Rather, I would buy it together with the donor and buy it directly from the cipher.
Okay, give it to me. I'm going to put it in the chat. What's the Zelle? What's the phone number? What's the
PayPal.
website? PayPal.
Or Zelle. PayPal or Zelle. It's the same email. Is my name
Zelle.
Caytak@gmail.com.
Caytak, Caytak.
Well, starting with a D.
Oh, DCAYTAK at gmail.com. Okay, if anybody wants to participate in one of these mitzvahs, help sponsor some tefillin, tell us about this mezuzah picture that we saw.
And that's also my email if anybody wants to write to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Be in touch.
We saw a picture of a mezuzah. Let me see if I can call it up here. Tell us about that, if you could.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll go through the pictures one by one.
Here it is. Here we go. Who is this guy?
So this guy is a fighter in the Golani, and I gave him mezuzah to put up, and he in a base called Aviad up north. I actually don't remember his name, to be honest.
So this mezuzah is in a base in the north of Israel.
His name is what?
This is in a base in the north of Israel.
In the base in the north. So generally, I focus down south, but I also, based on the need. So Baruch Hashem, we put up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mezuzahs in many bases. Just in Gaza division alone, there's almost 30 bases. So we put up
Amazing.
many of them. And unfortunately, the army doesn't keep up with equipment. They don't keep up with mezuzahs. And there's many mezuzahs that were destroyed, unfortunately, or that fell off, or and also they're building a huge amount of new bases because whatever security conception they had until now, now they're doubling whatever it was.
Is there any way for people who want to just keep up with everything that's going on, with the things that you're doing? Is there any kind of WhatsApp or somehow that they can keep up with this?
I do have a WhatsApp. Right now, I happen to be out of Israel for another month and a half, but God willing,
Okay.
we'll when we get back. I'm still helping groups from afar, actually, a few
All
groups.
right.
Right now, there's Chabad at the Valley. I made connections for him. He's putting up 250 mezuzahs with Division
Amazing.
162 with Rabbi
Amazing.
Yosef Levine.
Do you have a guess of how many total mezuzahs you've brought out to fill in tzitzis? You got any kind of raw numbers that you can share with us?
I would say probably about 300 pairs of tefillin and about 1,000 mezuzahs.
Amazing. And pairs of tzitzis?
Tzitzis, I'm not sure exactly the number.
Okay. And this is all
And
just
Talaita.
done spontaneously, right? I mean, you grew up in Chabad, you can't help yourself.
Right,
You
that's
see
right.
a
One thing
need, you
leads to
have to
another,
act.
and what?
What you just have to act. It's like it's in your blood. This isn't your
Yeah.
job, right? You have a job, and this is
That's
just
right.
something that you're doing. It's amazing. Okay, well,
A big
Rabbi,
schus, a big privilege.
it's enormously inspiring that you do this, and thank you for sharing. We want to be respectful of your time. If anybody wants to unmute and jump
I
in
do
for a
have
minute, yeah.
So if anybody would like to join a WhatsApp group, you could message me and I could add you to a group that I have that I put up from time to time from my activities
Beautiful. I'll send out the
with
email
my
address
number.
when I send out the recording. If anybody wants to unmute,
Very impressive. Thank you for sharing with us.
thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Otherwise, we're going to say thank you so much, Yasher Koach, for all that you're doing.
And there's
Really,
there's
really
of course
remarkable.
a cheder of Chicago that I've been working with also to give out toys.
Okay, tell us about that.
So I don't only do tefillin and mezuzahs, I do many projects. Baruch Hashem, we built, given out many svarim down south, Aron Kodesh, 2 Aron Kodeshes,
Wow.
We've done a lot of different things.
Tell us about the work you're doing right here locally with Chabad, with Cheder Lubavitch. Tell us about that.
Lubavitch, they raise money on Hanukkah, if I'm not mistaken, to give.
Which class? Tell us. Come on, don't be shy.
My brother-in-law's the Rebbe of, I think 5th grade. If I'm not
Fourth
mistaken.
grade.
Fourth
Fourth grade. I asked him
My
who his
mistake.
favorite student is.
Your grandson.
That's correct. They just had their play today. Absolutely. Best student. So they do. Rabbi Varney is famous. Every year he does a creative menorah. And this year they did it by collecting money and toys to send to children in Eretz Yisroel. It was an enormous, enormous Kiddush Hashem. The kids got so excited about it and they loved it. They loved it. And he made a big, big Kiddush Hashem. He always comes through with something creative and innovative. Really beautiful. Really
So we
beautiful.
gave out Baruch Hashem to many groups of soldiers in Tel Nof, in a base outside of Modi'in Illit, in Machane Ofer, which is outside of Jerusalem, toys to soldiers who are in the field, and they're coming home to their families. So I give them very, very nice toys, and also for the orphans, for the families of the soldiers who were killed.
Sure.
So the night before I left Israel, I was up north with the tip of the spear. It's called San Chanim 55, and they lost 8 soldiers, unfortunately. So we gave some toys for those families and also for the soldiers in general. Why are they called the tip of the spear? Because they were the ones who liberated Jerusalem in 1967. They were the first ones to cross the Suez Canal in the Yom Kippur War, and they're preparing to invade the north. It should go well, or we shouldn't need to have war.
Amen. Amen. Well, Rabbi, it's incredibly beautiful and impressive and inspiring. Thank you for taking the time to share it. And again, I shared the PayPal and the Zelle if anybody wants to participate. If somebody wants to
would like to visit Israel, I have, thank God, I have connections to most of the kibbutzim and the army bases.
Beautiful. Well,
So
look
on.
at that. We get you right in the front door.
God willing.
Fantastic. Okay, Rabbi, thank you. If anybody has a quick question, otherwise we're going to let the Rabbi go. He is really, really inspiring. Really so proud of what you're doing. And thank you for taking the time to share it with us. And as you said, we should be more, no more. And we should only be collecting tefillin and mezuzahs for doing mitzvahs, not for having to defeat the evil. But until that time, we will defeat them. And together we will be victorious with the tefillin. Amen. Beautiful.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Good night. Thank you so much. Remember, no class tomorrow night. We'll see you.